Is my screen visible? Am I audible? Okay. So till the other people join, I had some questions which I wanted to answer. Is the first question was that I got. I think the first question was regarding the job. Regarding the job, I think multiple people asked me this, so I'll just answer this question. The first thing is, if any company wants to hire you, they have a metric of their own. तो वो ऐसे देखते हैं कि हम क्यों इसको ले ले. So the first metric they keep is at least you should have a good college. Because उनके पास भी कोई ऐसा metric होना चाहिए जिसकी मदद से वो ऐसा ensure करे कि उनके पास जो candidates आ रहे they're good. So for that, they are checking that if college is good. That's the first criteria. If college is good, maybe they won't check the projects and stuff. If they are just focusing on getting good college grads, so they'll check good college. So that's why it's really easy for IIT and IIC people or even top NITs to get good placements. The other thing which companies look is then their projects or profiles. And for these profiles, Zubair joined. So again, so regarding the job, I was telling you that the companies they have a metric. The first thing is they look for good college. If a candidate is from a good college, so they'll obviously pick the candidate over the candidate who is from a tier 3 or tier 2 college. So they usually prefer candidates from here because they have cracked multiple good exams and they have proven their capabilities in the field. So the other thing they will look is for the profiles. By profile, I mean how is your GitHub? So how many projects have you done? So they look at your GitHub as probably your LinkedIn profiles for your experience and stuff like that. So they'll check your profiles as well. So these two things are the criteria. Then they'll from the GitHub they'll get clear that how many projects have you done, what are the real things that you have done. So this college will matter if you have very less exposure to the industry. That's why we call them a freshers job. So for freshers, the first difficulty is they should be from a good college. That's why company wants to hire them. क्योंकि problem ये होता है company has to put some resources over these candidates. तो उसमें ये होता है कि if these people are from good college, then only will they take them. क्योंकि उनका ये होता है कि how fast will they learn or things like that. So now because you're missing this opportunity of being from a tier 1 college, so you'll have to make your profile strong. So irrespective of how much you know, so when you make your CVs or you make your resume, you should have good GitHub profiles and good portfolios. When the guy who is checking your CV or checking your resume, so he should get able to know that right, this candidate has a good profile, maybe it's worth investing some time and get do an interview, maybe then select the candidate. So the first process that you have to go is get an interview. So interview कैसे मिलेगा? Because now you miss this opportunity of being from a good college. So if they see a CV who is from IIT, IIC, they'll directly give them the interviews because they do have actually the belief over these colleges because they have produced good results and phenomenal engineers. But now you don't have the liberty of this, you don't have this, so you must create good profiles. And where, for example, if I want to see your GitHub page, if I want to go to your LinkedIn, I should be easily able to identify that this candidate has done something special. Then they will call you for an interview, then there will be multiple rounds of coding and stuff like that. This is a general scenario. So that's why you have to work on this part. Otherwise you have to again go back to the life and then start and try to go into these colleges where companies will come and you will get placed. Okay, so you miss this opportunity, so the best thing you have to do is this, and in here you have to work hard. Okay, that's what I meant. So I got this question multiple times, sir, how do we get job? And even I was just checking my LinkedIn, and there are from people from IUST, people from other universities, they were calling me regarding that. So I made it clear because companies का भी अपना एक फंडा होता है, they want to keep a metric for this. So in order to get your interview, you should be really good. तो तुम में कुछ additional capabilities होनी चाहिए which they leverage और वो तुम लोगों को ले पाए. So am I clear with this? So the focus here is to make your good profile. You will make good projects which you can put, and you will be thorough with knowledge. तो उसके बाद ही तुम्हारा इंटरव्यू मिलेगा. Am I clear with this? Give some thumbs up. Huh? Nice. So now let's start the session because I think some people are sick, so they have sent me message they won't be able to join. I think 2-3 people are sick. It's because of I think temperature change and things like that. So whatever we have studied so far, I'll just have a small quiz, a small maybe test of your understanding. So just read the first thing that is on your screen. If you can read this one. So can you tell me what will be the output of this? I hope that you have copies and pens ready. So just read the code and maybe I'll give you 30 seconds or so you can check what is the answer and tell me what is the answer. Has anyone got the answer? What should be the answer of this? So answer will be A is equal to something and B is equal to something. So what will be A equal to and what will be equal to? You have to tell that. You don't need to type this code on some online Python interpreter and then it'll pop up answers. I just want to check your understanding of the operators that we discussed in the previous session. Are there some answers? You can write it in the chat window, huh? I think Mahavish had some answer. So what should be the answer of this? It's
So
really
10
easy, huh?
and 5.
10 and 5. So how many of you agree that this will be the answer? Zubair, Rian, Jahangir, Sharika, are you there?
Yes, sir. Sir,
It's really easy to do. I just told you to
I
remember
think
the
10 and 5 is the answer.
huh. So
A is equal to 10, B is equal to
right,
5.
let me do it for you. So what I told you is that you have to think through. Whenever you get this picture, you have to make a picture in your head. A is equal to 5 is Python will make object 5 and it will assign it to A. Then B is equal to 10. It will make an object 10, then it will assign it to B. So then we say A is equal to A plus B. So this A, first it will do A plus B, that is 5 plus 10 is 15, so A will be assigned 15 now. So this value will get overwritten. Okay. Now B is equal to A minus B. So now the B is again overwritten. So A now is 15, minus B is 10, so this will get value 5. And again now A is equal to A minus B. So A minus B is 15 minus 5, that is 10, so this will get overwritten by value 10. So now A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. So that's what the answers were. Are you clear with the process how I did it? That's what I'm telling you. The important thing is not learn about the things and how these operators work. The important thing is can you do it on yourself. मेरा मकसद ये नहीं है कि तुम लोगों को memorization कराऊं किसी चीज़ का. My whole motto is to teach you how to think basically in programming style, how to think. How does actually these interpreters work? Okay. If I give any value, for example, no, Jahangir, you are not audible. If I give any answer, any other value to this, for example, I'll give A is equal to 16, B is equal to 19. So what will be the answer? Again, here I'll give now just 20 seconds, starting from now. I'll see can you do it. Then I want to find some pattern in this. So what I'm doing by using this. Maybe Salim, Jahangir, you have some problem with your laptop because I think everybody is able to see my screen. Can you just confirm, are you able to see my screen and am I audible clearly? Yes. I think your time is over. So should I do it or do you need more time to do this?
Sir, 5 seconds.
Okay. So where are you? Because these are the questions they'll ask you in the interview. They'll give you a program and tell you what's the output and just run the code on your, not run the code on a machine. They'll just tell you, okay, try run this code and tell me the answer because they want to check
Sir,
your understanding. Huh?
A is 19, B is 16.
A is 38, B is minus 3. Rian got it wrong, I think. So again, I'll do it. I'll just again understand, make you understand the process how I'm doing it. So now it was, I think, 16 and 19, let's say. So first Python will create object 16 and it will assign it to A. Okay. Then it will create an object of 10, assign it to B. Then we have A plus B. Now the value of A is 16. Okay. And the value of B is 19. Sorry, it is 19. We're doing with 16 and 19. So it will do A plus B. So 16 plus 19. So how much is this? 35. So now A will get overwritten by 35. Okay. Now A is 35. So we have to do A minus B. So 35 minus 19. So how much is this? 35 minus
16.
19, 16. So now B will be overwritten by 16. Again we are doing A minus B in the third step. So A minus B is here, 35 minus 16, that will be equal to 19. So that's why answer should be A is equal to 19 and B is equal to 16. My whole point of this was because this code is many times used and we generally swap variables, if you know swapping of variables. For example, if we have A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 13. So sometimes what you want is you want the value of B to get assigned to A and value of A to get assigned to B. So that's called swap operation, or you want to swap these values. So this program here perfectly does swapping. Okay, this is a common operation. If you, for example, know how these sorting algorithms work, they swap these values. For example, bubble sort, or if some other sorting algorithm. So this is a frequently used operation in many of the applications and many of the algorithms. That's why I wanted to show you, just by using operations plus and minus, how we can swap. And usually you have seen, for example, if you want to swap some variable A and B, you create a temporary variable. You say, for example, we have a temporary variable, and first we will assign A to this temporary variable, then A will be overwritten by B, then B will get this value of temporary variable. So this is also a way to swap these two terms. But this is one way, by using just addition and subtractions. Okay? So can you just now read this code snippet, and with the value 9, can you see what will be the answer? Should answer, because it should be true and false, because here we are using logical not operator, and it should be true and false answer. And even we are also using this equality operator. This is also logical equality. It should be true. Okay, Rian said it should be true. I think here answer is written. But I want you to understand the process though. Rian, just test it with probably 11. Can you test it with 11? The whole point of having these live sessions is to interact with you. Otherwise, I would have recorded these sessions and then put it on YouTube or somewhere to just, like, while you will feel one-ended learning, while I am throwing the information at you and probably you're not interacting.
So for 11, it's also true.
For all values, answer will be. Rian actually found a pattern. So Rian, really nice. So you found a pattern there. So is anybody else able to find the pattern? Okay, let me just tell you the pattern what there is. For example, here we are taking any number and then dividing it by 2. So here we'll get a float value. For example, if I divide 9 divided by 2, so that will be 4.5. So here I got 4.5. So here the answer will be always an integer, because this is float division. If you remember from the previous class, we had a discussion on this float division, because it truncates the last digit. It just gives you the float value. So here 9 float division by 2 is equal to 4. Okay, so here we'll get value 4. So this 4.5, is it equal to 4? So first it will be true, then this not operation turns it into false, for example. So here it will be is equal to, this will be false, sorry. So then this not operation will turn this into true. That's why for 9 it will be true. The whole essence of doing this is, if we have an odd number, so for odd number we'll get some floating point answer, because there will be a remainder in odd number. So for example, if I take 11 now, 11 by 2 is equal to 5.5. So for each of these even numbers, for each of these odd numbers, we'll get a floating point answer. So there will be 5 point something, 6 point something. So it will not be an integer value. Okay. So when we get some floating point number here, but this truncates it down. If I divide any odd number by 2, it will truncate it, it will get into the integer. So if I see for even numbers, I'll get integer for this. So for floating point numbers, for odd numbers, these two will be unequal. Okay, for odd numbers. If I say this is equal to this, so it will be unequal for odd numbers. But for even numbers, they'll be equal. So that's why this expression, it will return true for if we have numbers, for example, this is an even number, so here it will assign a true for even numbers, and for odd numbers it will assign false. So false for even numbers, and we have true for even numbers. So that's what here we are saying. So we can use just this expression to say whether number is even or odd. So you just can see over here. So by using this, you can compute whether a number is even or odd. So you can also do in different steps, like you take modulus for number, modulus 2 is equal 0. So this is another way of seeing if a number isn't even or number isn't odd. I hope this is clear. Can you just check your understanding with this? Maybe this is the last problem that I want to show. Now this involves some bitwise operators. Probably don't do it with 128. So I'll say do it with let's say 8. And I will say binary of 8 is 1000. Eight and maybe 9 also. So binary of 9 is 1001. This is 8 and this is 9. Is anyone ready with the answers? If someone is not able to see the screen, he can just I think screen is visible. If someone is not able to unmute his or her mic, so they can just type the answer in the chat window. The two things here, I want to tell me the answer, and I want also you to tell me the pattern. First I want the answer for 8 and 9, and then I want you to find the pattern. So what is this program doing basically? What is this code snippet doing? That is the most fundamental thing. You may be able to sometimes come up with the answer, but you must know what is it doing. I think this is something new for you, where people are telling you what's the pattern, what is this program doing. Because I told you, you have to read code of other people. So in that reading the code, you must find the underlying pattern. कि ये जो code दिया हुआ है, what is it doing basically? You can come up with the answers. Maybe you will get output as well. But the thing is, you must know कि pattern क्या है. What is this code snippet doing? So I'll just wait here for another 20 seconds to wait for your answers. Time being, I'll also post the link because some people have problem joining the meeting. So I'm posting the YouTube link on Teams on this WhatsApp group. If somebody wants, he can join that. I'll just wait here for another 20 seconds to wait for your answers. Okay. So is there anybody who has an answer? Zubair, are you there? Mavish? Okay, I think do it myself. I think you are not able to solve it, but that's the fundamental problem. When I'm teaching you something, you must revise it and then you must practice for it, because the only thing that you will get out of is your hard work. Because no matter how much how much I teach or how good I teach, it won't carry any value till the point you will practice yourself. So I'll just do it with 8. So here the first thing is number is not equal to 0. So this condition is true first. So because we have to focus on this. So the first condition is true here, true. Then and. I'm getting some message, I guess. It's okay. So the first condition that I'm checking here is number not equal to 0. So here 8 is not equal to 0. Okay. Then and. Then number and that's now number is 8. Now I am performing a bitwise operation and number minus 1 is 7. So now I am checking is this equal to 0. So if I check bitwise, so bitwise of 8 is 1 0 0 0. This is what I gave to you. So then I am performing an AND operation of this with 7. So 7 is 0 1 1 1. Okay. So now if I perform AND operation, so this will be equal to 0 0 0 0. So now this is 0. So 0 is equal to 0 if you know. So this is true. True and true is true. So that's why for 8 answer will be true. Am I clear? Am I audible though?
Yes, sir.
So was I clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Again, let me take the example of 9. So here number is not equal to 0. So this condition is true. This condition. Now and then we have number. Number is equal to 9. Then bitwise AND operation. Number minus 1 is 8. So we'll have to perform a bitwise operation of this. So 9 is equal to 1 0 0 1. So 8 is equal to 1 0 0 0. Okay. So now if I will perform bitwise AND of this, so I'll get 1 0 0 and 1. So this is not equal to 0. So this will be false. So true and false is false. So for this it will be false. Actually, I think Rian said the answer. The answer to this question is, so this code snippet is basically finding the powers of 2. If you have a power of 2, for example, you have 2 raised power 1, that is 2, it will show true answer. If you have power 2 to the power 2, so it will be 4. So you will be getting true answer. If you have say 2 raised to power 3, that's 8. So it will be true for all the powers of 2. So that's what this code snippet is doing. Okay, again, I'll again reiterate, it doesn't matter how much better I teach, you have to practice a lot. Okay, so now let's go into the control flow. I think some people joined from YouTube because here they were not able to see the screen. I think YouTube is fine. So are you able to see my screen? Just can you confirm it?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Some people joined from YouTube because they messaged me that they are actually watching it on YouTube. So it's okay for the people who are not here, so they can. So Mahavish is saying it's not clearly visible. So I think otherwise we have to stop the streaming of YouTube. Then the people who are watching on YouTube, they won't be getting, because I think this may be the bandwidth issue. Let's go with whatever we have at the hand. So till now what we have seen is we have seen some basic things. For example, we saw how to take input, then how to manipulate the input by using the operations. Now sometimes we need to take decisions, if you see. So even if you see dead real life, if you are doing some certain task, sometimes you need to take a decision. In the morning you need to take a decision कि breakfast में क्या खाना है. Should I have tea or should I have some heavy breakfast, or should I skip breakfast, some things like that. So programming is more or less like same. For till now we have seen, for example, flow of code. If there were lines of code जो हमारे पास थी, तो वो lines one by one करके चलती थी. So for example, this was line 1 2 3 4. So everything was flowing in order. So there was no what I can say branch or something like that. So everything was going in a straight path. That's called flow of code. Flow of code. So flow of code usually is like it will go from line by line. It won't divert somewhere if there is no control statements. So till now we have seen the straight flow of code. So if there are certain lines written in some flow, so it will go directly and follow that flow. So in order to make the programming realistic, तो उसके लिए हमें क्या चाहिए, we must have some statements where we can, for example, divert or maybe do some things repeatedly or something like that. So that's where these control flows come in. So Python में क्या है, we have many control flow statements. Okay, so I think you now understood what is meaning of the control flow statement. So they based of certain conditions, what will they do is they will make your code work in a certain way. So it will not be just going line by line. Maybe it will just take a detour. It will just take other branch or something like that based on these conditions. Okay, so the primary types of flow controls we have is, for example, we have if statement. So if something is there, then this should happen, and we have if else, we have nested if, and then we have if else later, and then in the control flow we have loops as well. So let's start with the if statement. Okay, so in if statement हमारे पास क्या होता है, we have a condition. If that condition is met, then we'll do something, otherwise we won't. Let me give you a physical real example. So if it is raining, then you won't go to school. So you can write it like this, for example, if rain is equal to true, that means if it is raining outside, so then I'll say print I won't go to school, something like that. By this I am saying, for example, if a certain condition is met, then you will do a certain task. If it is not met, then you will do maybe some other task, or you won't do anything for that. So that's where for this if statement we know if we have a condition, and if that condition is met, we'll do a certain thing. What is the syntax of this? If you see, so we are writing if, and then we are writing the condition. So this condition give answer as boolean. You can have any sort of expression, you can use any sort of operators, but the answer of that should be boolean. Then only will this if work. Otherwise it will give an error, because if the answer is, for example, some string value, so if won't work on string value, if works with booleans only. So conditions answer should be boolean. So if this condition is met, then the code will execute whatever the code the block of code we wrote here. So let me go to the coding screen. I'll show you. Again, let me just run these code to just confirm the answers that you got. So this was a is equal 10 and b is equal 5. So this is an odd number, so it should be true. So again, so for 120 it should be true, because it's the power of 7, 2 to the power 7. Okay. Now we have age is equal 25. Okay. So if age is greater than or equal to 18, now age, this number is actually greater than 25. So it is greater than 18 because it's 25. So the flow will go into this print, and it will print you are eligible to vote. If you can just run this, it will show you are eligible to vote. For let's say we'll change this variable to 17. So now it did nothing, because this condition was not met. So if I want to show you how this if works, so for example, if there is a statement if, then there is some condition. Okay, if there is some condition, if this condition is met, then the block will get executed, which is under if statement. If it is not, then no execution will happen. If you see it in the control flow, if a condition is met, then only the code block or the lines of code will execute which were under if. Okay, so that's how this if works. You can take tons of examples where you want, and when you will implement your projects and stuff, maybe you will, for example, do certain things. If you are making some website, maybe using Python, then there will be if a person has spent more than 20 minutes on your website, then probably target the person with this ad. So there will be if condition will be used there. So by if condition I mean you just have a choice and you want to do certain thing if you meet that choice. Okay, that's the whole point I want to take you. I want to tell you that the if does, and how we'll connect these dots again. Then we have if else. You can use if alone. Now what the difference between if else is, if you have a condition, and if it is met, then you will do certain thing. If it is not met, then you will do some other thing. The difference between if and if else, let's focus here. In if there is a condition, and if this condition is met, then we will do certain thing. If it is not met, we don't know what we'll do. Maybe we'll do nothing. So here if condition is met, we will do a certain thing. In if else, if this condition is met, so we'll do one thing. If this condition is not met, we'll do some other thing. So you saw the difference clearly. So if में हमारे पास क्या है, if has a condition, अगर वो condition सही निकलती है, then we will do certain task or we will execute some statements. अगर तो वो condition meet नहीं होती है, maybe that will get the answer as false, तो हम कुछ नहीं करते in if. But in else, the scenario is like this. अगर हमारे पास वो condition meet होती है, तो what will happen is, तो मैं कुछ task करूँगा, but if it does not meet, so I'll do some other task. For example, let's extend this example of rain. तो if में क्या था, condition was if it rains, that is rain is equal true. So I'll do a certain task, that is print I won't go to school, like this. I won't go to school. That was the condition. In if else, what do we have? If rain is equal true, the first thing is maybe we'll write the same thing that we have over here. So maybe we'll go to school, okay? So I'll select this, maybe copy it, paste it here. Okay? But if I see rain nahi hua, then else, if there is no rain, so what will happen is maybe I'll say print I will play. So this over here is if, and the other thing here we have is else. This is our if, this clear difference is there. In the if, we just check one condition, and based on that we'll do something. And if it is not met, or if it is not true, then it's okay. We don't think that what will we do if it's not okay. But if we have, I think I wrote it wrong, so this is if else, so this is if. So I'm saying if in the if statement, if the condition is met, then we'll do a certain thing. If it is not met, then we'll do nothing. We don't know what are we going to do. But if in if else, so what is there? So if condition is met, that time we'll do a certain thing. If it is not met, then we'll do some other thing. So we have clear defined goals. I think you understood this if and else. Am I clear with this? You can raise your hands or you can just give thumbs up so I know you are with this. Okay. Nice. So just doing this code on, so here we have, for example, the syntax is if, then we write a condition. Then there is a code to execute if this condition is true. Else, there is a code to execute if this condition is false. So here we have this syntax of this. So now here, if I see it, x is equal 3. So there is a variable x is equal 3. Then we have if x is greater than 5, print x is greater than 5. Else, if this condition is false, so print this. So obviously you can see here that 3 is less than 5. So here we can say that x is not greater than 5. This should be the answer. So if I run it, so x is not greater than false. So this actually control got into this loop. Okay, just to show you again how this control is being happening. So we have the x is equal to 3. So first it checks this condition. As this condition was false, so it won't look at this. It will directly jump to this. That's what here we have branching. So we had a flow of code like this. Then we had two branches. So based on some condition. That's what I mean control flow, because the flow was straight. Now we want to divert the flow. Either it will go, for example, left or it will go right. So that's what I mean. If the condition was true, so this code would have run. If the condition was false, so this code will run. So here you clearly saw that here the condition was false. That's why control went from here directly to here. Okay. So again, let's check with and the example. If I say, for example, 10, now the control will directly go to this print. It won't go to else. So if I run this, you can clearly see x is greater than 5. Remember the syntax of this and remember what is it doing. Am I clear with this? People are sending me WhatsApp message that I'm clear. Can you just raise hands here? Okay, nice. So now we'll see ternary operator. So this actually is just a shorthand notation for if else. So Python actually has shorthand notation for if else. If you want to do a certain thing, and that's just one line. For example, for this code we had, it required at least 4 to 5 lines. So we actually have a Python gives us a really good succinct way of writing this if else. So here you can see. I'll explain you first what is the syntax of this. So here we will write a value. Okay, the first thing will be value. Then you will write an if. Okay. First you will write a value, then you will write an if, then you will write a condition. Okay. Then you will write an else. Then you will write some other value, maybe y. I'll again say it value. I just highlight it, so the if is here and else is here. So what will it do? What will it do is, if this condition is met, if this condition is true, so this value will be assigned. So for example, this value will be, if we assign it to some variable, so this value will, or this line of code, or this will be assigned to the variable. Else, this value will get assigned. Okay, so here you can write, if this condition is true, then this will happen, or if this condition is not true, so this will happen. So this will happen well true, and this thing will happen when not true. Okay, so for example, let's go on this. So let's here we have x is equal 10. So 10 is a value which is assigned to x. Then we have if x modulus 2 is equal 0. So here you saw that this line of code will basically check even or odd. I don't want to explain this line of code. So this will check whether it's an even or odd. So we have here, so if it is 10, so it will be even number. Now I want to show you the same thing can be achieved by ternary operator, because here we are using if else. Again we'll use this ternary operator. I'm saying call it even. Okay, this is the statement that you have to execute. If, then we have a condition. Okay, let's break it down. Here we have this value or statement that we want to execute. Then we have this if, then we have this condition. Okay, this is the condition. Then we have this else, and we have and the statement. Okay, so here the both of these codes, the code snippet 1 and code snippet 2, are basically doing the same thing. So it is checking this condition. If this condition is true, then this even will get assigned to this result. If it is odd, then this odd will get assigned to this based on the condition. If it is false, condition is false, then this will be assigned. If it is true, this will be assigned. So just see the shorthand notation. Here the program was quite big, so we just wrote one line of the code and we got the similar answers. I think it is Jambly again, so I'll just erase it and you will see, you can easily see it. So both of these codes are perfectly doing the same thing, but you can see here we used ternary operator. Ternary operator, if you see it. So just going to the code window so that you can see it clearly. So for example, in this example, you can say that easily we get x greater than 5, and we can see. So x is 10, so we don't want to print this. So here you can see. So this, let's say 12, it will say it is even. So again, if we want to check it for 12 here, so the same thing will be done here as well. This is also even. So am I clear with this ternary operator? Nice. So ternary operator, it will help you a lot, because when you will be coding, for example, big projects, and there you don't want to mess up your code and write huge code, because this is clearly visible what it will do. Again, to just reiterate, know that initially we have to write a statement followed by if. Let's write this if with some other color, and then we'll have the condition. Let's write it with other color, condition. Then we'll have else, and again then we'll have the statement, maybe statements. Okay. If this condition is true, this is black, huh? If this condition is true, then this statement will be executed. If this condition is false, so this statement will be executed. So this is the whole story of this ternary operator. So how to, it basically does the job what if else does, but maybe in a succinct way, in a short form way. That's why it's called a shorthand notation of if else sometimes. Next, let's go to nested if. Okay, sometimes you want to check multiple conditions. For example, if it rains, if I have money in my pocket, then maybe I'll go somewhere. If it snows, if I have money so that I can board the flight, maybe I'll visit Switzerland or something. You have multiple conditions to check. So for that we use this nested if. Okay. So if you have multiple conditions, so by if else you can just check one condition. So you have to use multiple if you want to do a task where you want to take a decision based on the multiple conditions. So how is the syntax looks like? So it's if followed by condition 1, then maybe some code to execute, and inside this you will have another if. So inside one if, so that's why it's called nested if. So nested if means inside one if you will have another if. So this if will, if this condition is true, then only will this if execute. So it's like this: if, then we have a condition, then inside this if we have another if. So to reach to this if, this condition should be true. Okay, otherwise we won't be able to reach this if. That's what I mean by having this nested if within an if. So if first condition is met, then only we'll go to the second if. If the first condition itself is not met, then we won't be able to go to the second condition itself. So that's the syntax I told you. So first we have a first if, then there is a condition, then we have a block of this if, and within that if we have another condition, and then we have another block of this if. So that's called nested if. Nested means if within if. For example, here we have a code. So x is equal 10. So what I want to check is if this 10 is between 5 and 15. So I want to see if a number x, if it is between 5 and 15. So for example, if I take the example of 10, I have to write two conditions. If this x is greater than 5, let's say, and if this x is less than 15. So this basically checks if the number is in between some range. So I have used two if here. So first if is here, so there is a condition. Again, then there is a code block of the if. So if you see, this is the block of the outer if. So this is the block of the inner if. So this outer if will only be executed, inner if will only be executed if this condition is true. So in this case, this outer if, its condition is actually true because x is greater than 5, because x is 10, so it is greater than 5, if you see. Then it will move on to this condition. Now if x is less than 15, so here it's again true, so we are printing x is between 5 and 15. Okay, so just let's go to the code window and let's see. Yes, this is the code. I need to uncomment it. So here you can see x is between 5 and, so I can do one more thing. I can just see print inside first if, let's say inside first if. Okay, then for the second thing I'll say inside second if. Instead of printing this, I'll say inside second if. So here we assume that first this inside first if should get printed, and then inside second if should also, because both the conditions are met. So you can see inside first if, inside second if. So but if you write this number, for example 20, so now we know that x is greater than 5 is true because 20 is greater than 5. So this first statement will get executed. So the second statement won't be executed because this condition, this outer if, the inner if, it won't, the condition of this if is not true because 20 is not less than 15. So if you
It
try,
is not visible.
is it visible? You should, I was talking. So what I'm saying is, I'm saying, for example, how will this inner and outer if work is? So if I wrote, for example, when this statements will be executed. So here I have x is equal to 20. So now x is greater than 5 means 20 is greater than 5. So that means the first print statement will get executed. Okay. So now if I go to the second if, which will be only executed if the first condition was true, as the first condition was true, so that means this will also get executed. So x is less than 15 means 20 is less than 15, but it is false. So this statement won't get printed. So here the expected output should be inside first if I run it. So inside first if. So let me again try. If I write 1, so this condition, the first if itself, the condition is false. So there is no question of going to the second if. Okay, so if I just run this, so it will show nothing because basically the first condition was not true, so there was no, because this whole block belonged to first if. So if the condition was false, so it won't run it. So am I clear with what is nested if? So am I clear with this? Nice. Okay, this can actually, we can replace this nested if by using operation AND. Okay, so if you want to check certain things, so you can just write if x is greater than 5 and, or maybe a and d and in Python, and then write x is less than 15. So you can do this as well, but sometimes code becomes really hard to read, so that's why there is we have this nested ifs. So because to make the code readable more. Then we have if else, if else later. Okay, so what is this? Actually now if we have multiple decisions, so but maybe they don't depend on each other. For example, here we had if some condition is met, then something will happen. Now if we have multiple decisions, for example even greater than maybe 2 or 3, so here if we use first if and else, so it can actually handle two conditions. So if condition is met, then they will do this. If condition is not met, then we'll do other thing. But what if we had to check different conditions? Let me give you a real example. So for example, agar tumhare paas, maybe if you have some people have for 100 rupees, some have 200, some have 300, and some have 400 rupees, and we have multiple things. So what people are discussing is what should we buy for lunch. So what they do is वो ऐसा कर रहे हैं कि वो देख रहे हैं कि if I have 100 rupees in my pocket, then I'll eat, let's say, something. So if I have 200, I'll eat certain some other thing. So if I have 300, I'll eat some other thing. If I have 400, I'll eat some other thing. So based on how much money you have in the pocket, so you decide what are you going to eat for the lunch. Okay, so here we have multiple conditions. For that, we'll use if, elif, and else ladder. Okay, but out of these, only one can happen. I'm not saying you will do everything. So out of these, only one should happen. That's what I'm here. That's why this if, elif, else will work. So again, just show you an example here. So first, let's see the syntax. So if it is a condition first, okay, then the code block. Then we have elif. Elif is a short form of else if. Okay, so elif, then we have second condition. Okay, then we can write again some other elifs. Then at the end we will close it with else. If I just draw its diagram, so it will be like this. There is an if for example first, and then we check for a condition. If this condition is true, then we'll go to maybe elif. If this condition is true, then we'll maybe go to other elif. Otherwise we'll break it. No means like we'll break the execution. So here no means we'll break the execution. So elif here we'll go to other condition. If it is no, we'll break the execution and maybe move to else. Here everything will move to else. So these blocks will go to else. Okay. So here it means yes, it means no. That's true or false. So yes, no, and yes and no. Okay. So if you look at this code example, so here score is 75. If you see at this, the score variable is having a value of 75. Okay. Now I am saying if score is greater than or equal to 90. So basically score is here score is not greater than, so this condition is false. So it will directly jump onto this condition now. If score is greater than 80, so what will happen here is, if is score greater than, again this is false, so it will move the execution till here. If score is greater than 70, now the 75 is greater than 70 basically. So this statement will execute it. So as an output we'll get C grade. So you saw out of A, B, C, D grades, a student can be assigned only one grade. That's why we are using this if else. Otherwise you could have asked me a question. For example, we can write multiple if statements. For example, I can just write if score, then I can write again why to write this elif, I'll write if, why to write this elif, I can write if. So basically here we just want to assign one score, not multiple score. Let's go to the coding window and check it. I think my screen was not visible from previous, I think 1-2 minutes. Okay, is the screen visible now, my tab screen where I'm writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what I said about if or else, I was saying that the difference between if and else is that this if statements and if else statement is that you want to assign only maybe one score, one grade, because for people won't get multiple grades, people will get just one grade. For example, in your class, if somebody is scoring 75, he'll get maybe C grade. So for that we use this if else. Let's go to the coding window and maybe show you the example. So here we have a score is 75, so as I obviously told you, it should be C grade in here. So here we have like the output is C grade. So if I run this condition, for example elif, and I'll just remove this elif and I'll just have ifs there. So maybe and last is else. So I'll do one more thing. I'll just write if score, one more condition. If the score is, let's say, greater than 72, let's give it some C minus grade, let's say. So the difference between the previous program and this program is that here we have just ifs. It will check for all conditions, and the conditions which are true, it will give the output. तो ये सारी वो condition check करेगा, और जहाँ पे condition true होगी वो ये वो answer दे देगा. So the answer here will be C grade as well as C minus grade, because both of these conditions are met.
But screen is not visible.
Oh, why is it happening? So it is again. Sometimes when I want it to be on the code window, it is going on my tab. Is there something? So here what I did is I changed this if else into if statement. So what I want you to get from this is, I think something is really wrong with something. Okay. So what I want you to get is, like, for example, if I have all of these ifs, so now multiple conditions may be true. And answers can be, even the statements will be multiple. For example, now we have 75. So now for this, this score condition will be true and this score condition will be true. So the answer will be C grade and C minus grade. So if you just run this, it is C and C minus grade. But what if I want it should be only, it should stop somewhere. For example, if it is 7, it should stop there. It should not go. That's why we add elif. So I'll just add elif. So it will be L. So here we'll elif. This is elif. Okay. So now if I run it, now the answer will be only C grade because it will stop execution here. It won't go beyond this. You can check it. Just run it and you will see the answer is C grade. Are you able to see my screen? I think you saw the code as well. The difference between the ifs and elif is that in elif only one condition will get true, and that block under which that condition was were true, and those blocks will get executed. In the if, everything will be checked. I hope this is clear to you that what is the difference between if and elif. Okay. So in if everything is checked. In elif and in this later only one thing will be executed. That I showed with the code example. If you see in here, so we had elifs, so only this condition got executed. But if we have multiple ifs instead of this, so sometimes they can be equivalent, but they are not equivalent at all, like in most of the cases. That's why you should take care while writing the code whether to use if, whether to use elif, or what to use. So now we saw what is if, then we saw what is if and else with it, then we saw what is nested ifs, if within an if, then we saw ladder of these ifs. Okay, so now it gave you a control basically to decide the things. If I have multiple condition, if I have a single condition, if I have two condition, what to use. So for that we have these control flow statements where you can sort of change the flow of the code and then you can take certain decisions based on that. It is ready. These are the most important tools that you are learning right now, because whenever you code everything, you will see the code full of these statements: if else, this and that. You will see a lot of these things. Because in real-time coding, you basically want to take decisions based on that. If you are even making a calculator, there will be seeing if user presses plus button, then you should add the thing. So that's why you say if this button is pressed, then maybe you should do this thing. In the games as well, if you see if this arrow is hit, for example, if you are playing a car game, the car should turn to the left. If right button is pressed, the car should turn to right side, and things like that. You have to take multiple things, so you should be really good and really clear with these conditions, because when we are going to develop real-time applications, that time there is no second chance that you should be having these concepts shaky, and there should be some misunderstanding with the concept. That's why I took some more time to emphasize on these concepts, because they are the building block fundamentals of your coding. Okay, should I take questions here? Okay. Now the thing that we are done with this decision making, basically just have this in your mind. So you are getting some tools in your bag. You are getting some tools in your bag. You are in your learning journey. So in this learning journey, first you should have tools, because you want to perform certain tasks. So those tools should be very sharp. If the tools are not sharp, then what are you going to do? Even if you want to try build something new, because you won't have tools. Maybe you have tools in your bag, but they are not sharp. There are two scenarios. You have tools, but they are not sharp. Still, you are not going to do any impact. If the tools are really sharp, then you are going to do really good. For example, take an example of a carpenter. अगर तो ऐसा एक कारपेंटर है जिसके पास टूल्स तो है, पर वो टूल्स में दार ही नहीं है, तो the tools are like they are blunt. So what will happen there is the carpenter won't be able to make a good product out of, say, wood. But if he has tools and these tools are very sharp, then he'll be able to do wonders. And then comes the skills and just understanding the things. That's why these tools should be sharp. Right now you are learning about a tool. You are learning Python. That's why I am emphasizing to practice more, because this is the thing where you will build everything from here. So Python will sort of add to your tools, and then if I say, for example, now make a computer do like this, so you should be able to do, because now you know how to talk with the computer. So I'm not just per se teaching you how to learn, how to basically code in Python per se. I'm teaching you how to talk with the computer. Maybe some other day you will pick up some new language. So other languages have most of the features are same. I'll say more than 90% of the features are same, but they have just different syntax. Otherwise, all the things, there is control flow in C, there is control flow in C++, Java, maybe C#, and whatever language you talk about, there is this control flow. So if you understood this control flow really well, you should be able to pick up the other language maybe in a week or so. For example, in here, the first assignment I got in ISC, it was based on some advanced programming of C++, and we had to use OpenMP and stuff like that. And I never have used the software till that time. I haven't used that language even, OpenCV and things like that. So what happened is we were given 6 days to learn. I think less than even 6 days to learn that language. So, but we were clear on these programming constraints, so we just had to learn syntax. Okay, and programming language usually their syntax is very low, so the control flow ka syntax seekhna hai. Maybe you have to learn the syntax of loops and what are the basic construct of the language. That's how that's done. Then you can just start writing the code. Here I don't want you to memorize syntax. Do not memorize syntax, because this you can find online anytime. If you have problem with, for example, how to write if statements in Python, you can just search it up. But knowing that there is a if statement in Python, knowing that there is nested if else, there is, for example, nested if, there is a ladder, so that's important. So knowledge is not you memorize things. Knowledge is that you know that something is there and I can look it up. So today's knowledge is that क्योंकि हमारे पास book है and you will easily find that. Memorization is long gone now. Maybe memorization will help you till a certain extent, but the more important thing you have to do is know the things basically. So मुझे अगर syntax भूल जाएगा, it's okay, I'll just search on the web. So how to write if like this, so there will be syntax. So that's why I'm emphasizing it more कि यहाँ से जो कौन सी चीज़ें सीखोगे, learn so that you can apply it somewhere else. Do not stick your brain to Python कि हम लोग सिर्फ Python सीख रहे हैं. Here you are not only learning Python, because I think some people even messaged me, भैया I know Python, and I think there are people who might think they are good at Python. Here I want you to learn how to learn a language. Okay, so that's the most important thing I want you to learn. Okay, let's now move to the Python loops. Sometimes what we want to do is we want to do something repeatedly. So we want to do something repeatedly. By repeatedly, I mean we have to do it over and over again. There are choices. For example, I can write this code multiple times. Write the code multiple times. Multiple times. This can also be done. If I want to do something repeatedly, I can write it repeatedly. Simple. But other thing is I can use the concept of loops. So what loops give me is, so they give me basically a shorthand things where I can continuously iterate or something, or maybe continuously do something so that I can do it multiple times. So for that, Python loops are necessary. That's why they are called loops. So loop basically means something that is happening that's happening again and again. Maybe the repetitions basically. That's why they are called loops. So for loops, they are used to do sequential travels that here we have mentioned. Sequential travels means, for example, if you have some statements, so it will first travel this statement, then this, then this, then this. Okay, so I have to check the screen. That's if it is visible or not. That's why I'm sometimes stopping. So if I have statement 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe 4 statements. So sequential travel means first I'll travel first statement, then second, then third, then fourth. This is sequential travel. Now the repetition is I again go back to first. I'll again start from first 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, for example, if it's a third iteration, I'll again go back. So it'll start from somewhere, and I'll keep on going back from where I started. That's what I mean by sequential travel. We'll travel in sequence, but repeatedly in sequence. So it will be a straight travel, that's sequential travel, but it will be a repeated sequential travel. Okay. So this allows us to iterate through everything. For example, let's start with the for loop. Okay, so what's the syntax of for loop? So for loop is, the syntax is like this: for, then we have some variables, then we have iterable. Iterable means you can iterate over it. You can iterate. What I mean by iterate is that you can go on, for example, if there is a list 12, 13, 14, 18, something like this. So this is iterable because you can first pick up this 12 element, then 13, then this 14, then this 18. So this is called iterable. So the variable which is sort of going there and picking the element is called iterator. Iterator. Iterator is basically the variable that you assign so that it can walk over the iterable. Have these terms clear. Iterable means something where there is a sequence and I want to go one by one like this. For example, if you have a dictionary, so dictionary can be thought of as an iterable, because we have some sequence of words there where I can go one by one, and maybe I can also pick random things from dictionary. And then maybe human can be thought as an iterator, because human is the one who is going to look line by line and maybe word by word. So here we have this variable, it's called iterator, and then we have some iterable. Iterable means where there are elements which can be just which we can pick out one by one, or maybe some other things can be done to that. That's iterable. So for loop is like this. You have to define this for, then an iterator which I call variable, and then an iterable which can be iterated. Then you can write some statements over here. So here I mentioned this variable. This variable can take values each of the item as well. So we'll just look at these things. So for example, here I have taken an example from Geeks for Geeks, giving credit to them. So here if you can see my coding screen, so I'm saying this L is a list. So the first thing is it is an iterable. I'm saying for I in L, print I. So this should get print. Geeks for Geeks should get print. For example, if I write hi, hello, and hi, maybe then hello, maybe say hey. So now if I print it, so it will print hi, hello, and hey. Okay, let's go back to the window and tell me how it works. So now we have this list. Okay, we have this list. So how this I gets, so it does like this. So for I in L, so first it will start with I. It will take this geeks and assign it to I. So geeks, the element at 0th position, will be assigned to I. So now what happens in there is print I. So geeks got printed. So now it will again go back. It will again go back to this I. So when it goes back, because now the iterator was over here, so it will move. The iterator will automatically move to this. So now this I will get the value of for. Okay. So it will now print for. Again iteration will happen. So then it will again get geeks. So here we have something like this. So how for loop works is for, then we have something, then maybe now we use in, then something else, iterable, and then we have some block. So the first step is, what it does is for, so it will take this I. So this is the first thing that it will assign. It will see it over here. So this is the first thing it will do, and the second thing is it will pick the element from here. Okay, third thing it will do this. Again it will go to this, it will assign new values to this I. So this is fourth, then this is fifth condition. Now fifth step basically. So now from fifth it will go to sixth, it will go to seventh step here. Okay, you see that now after that when this is basically done, this list is exhausted, then we'll stop the loop. So because there were only these elements, these three elements. So here you can see in Python we are directly assigned. We are not using some variable for indexing, if you see. But if you are from C++ and maybe C language, so there we write for I is equal to say 0, I less than something, I plus plus. So there we have initialization of the loop, then we have a condition, then we have maybe increment, decrement, or some operator, then we perform something. Here you can see for loop is used differently in Python. Okay, so because we have something to iterate over this, so that's why we're doing it. We can similarly iterate over dictionary. So if we have a dictionary, so this dictionary will be get created like this, x, y, z. So it is 1, 2, 3, comma a, b, c is equal to 3, 4, 5. Then we can say if I is in D, then print this. You can easily see it. And same thing can be done with the strings. I'll probably show the example of the strings. Are you able to see the screen? So here you can say s is equal to geeks. Okay, so I'm saying for I in s, print I. So this will take each character, because actually the string is just a list of characters. So then it will print them on the screen. You can see it. If I even write, for example, hi there. Okay, so if I will print it, so it will print HIDHERE there like this, if you see it. So you can clearly see because it iterates. Let me just show you on. Let me show you this. So geeks is actually just a bunch of characters. Geeks is like this. So in computer's memory, it is stored like this, and there is a backslash 0 at the end basically. So backslash 0 means null character, if you know. So at the end of every screen there is this backslash 0 called as null. So what will happen is for I in S. So first I will start from here. So now I is G, so it will print G. Then I will go here, so it will print E, then K, and then S similarly. So when it reaches the null character, so it shows the string is terminated. Okay. So when the string is terminated, it won't print. So it will say condition is false basically. Now we are at the end of the string, so we cannot go beyond. So that's why it is stopping here. Then the loops that you are comfortable maybe in C, C++, they work more like this, because we have something range here. Okay, let's go with this. So why we have for I in range. So how this range works is it creates a list. So so range, actually we covered it in I think second or third session. So 0 to 10 comma 2. So this is the start point, this is the end, this is step size. So how this range? So this range will basically give me an iterable. So where I can iterate. So this will create not exactly a list, some iterable. Let's say for example it will start with 0 comma 1 0, because now the step size is 2. It will jump to 4, okay, then 8. Then when it will go to 10, because last element is excluded, so it will be like 2024 like this. So that's why if I take this range and for I and print this, so this thing will get printed 0 2 4. If I want to just increment by 1, I can just write 1, so it will print everything from 0 to 9. Again, going back to the coding window, I can show it here. So here let's put the step size as 1. So it is for I in range 0 to 10, that it will print everything from 0 to 9. So you can see 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so if I say for example go with the 2 steps, like increment 2 in each iteration, so here you can see the even numbers will get printed. So I can start it from 1 as well, so I can start it from 1. So here you see 1 3. I can even go till let's say 20 and maybe start it with 5, and let's have a step size of let's
The
say 3.
screen is not visible.
Is it visible? So here I am saying that this is the starting point, this is basically start, and this is the end, and this is step size in the range function. So I can start with 5 and I can end it with 20, and step size means how much to increment in each iteration. I am saying let's suppose with 1, so it will go with 5, then 6, then 7 till 19, because last element is not included. So you can say 5 6 7 8 9 until 19. Okay, so if I want, I can just have step size of 2, so it will print 5 plus 2, then 7 plus 2, then 9, something like this. You can see 5 7 9 11 13 15. So I can even start it from maybe -1. Let's say -1. You can see it printed -1, then 1, then 3, something like. I can start it from -20 as well. So maybe I'll go till 10 and I'll increment it with 5. Just and you can see -20, -15, -10, -5 0, something like that. So did you understand the concept of this range? Nice. So the range, it has the start, it has end, and it has the step size as well. So now we'll go to nested for loops. So by nested for loops, I mean for loop within a for loop. So sometimes you need to do a certain task, then for that certain task you also need to do certain things repeatedly. So that's where these nested for loops come in. Let's say for example you want to print some pair of things. For those nested for loop here I have. So you want to print like this. If I have two dice, two dice. So for example I have a die where numbers are written from 1 to 6. I have another die where numbers are written from 1 to 6. I want to see if I roll these both of these dice simultaneously, so how many possibilities are there. So I think for each possibility here 6 it can be 1 comma 1, it can be 1 comma 2, but on first die it will be 1, on the second die it can be 3 as well. Similarly it will be till 6 comma 6. So for each die I have to roll the other die 6 times. If I want to count the possibilities of the die. So for that I can use for loop under for loop. So what is the syntax of this? So you write for loop and then its syntax over here, then the body of this for loop, this is called body. So within the body you will write another for loop and then its own body. So this is the outer for loops body, outer for loop, and this one is inner for loops body. Okay, so this is outer for loop and we have the inner for loop as well. So whatever, for example if this is repeated 5 times and if this is repeated 10 times, so this body will get executed 5 times, so this body will get executed 10 times, like with this for loop. So in total this body will get executed 10 multiplied by 5, that's 50 times. Okay, well, let's go on the coding window and see it. So now I have dice which have value from 1 to 6, so that's why I want to put in the range 7. So I want to see what are the all possibilities with these two dice. So I'll just run this function and you will see the possibility is 1 1 2 2 1 1 1 1 3 1 4 like this until 6 comma 6. The total count is 36. Okay, Am I clear with this? How to use for loop within a for loop? Nice. That's the concept of nested for loop. So these are the most confusing things, because right now it may look simple when the problem has come, and then you will feel how much confusion this, how much efforts do you need to put in order to understand this. Just now basics are down so that you can at least say what are these loops doing. Now we'll go with starting iterating with tuples. So for example, if we have a tuple like this, 1 2 3 4 and 5 6. So the tuple has three elements. So inside tuple, this is the tuple of tuples. Basically within the tuple there are other tuples defined. So we have 1 comma 2 3 comma 4 5 comma 6. Whenever you have this tuple, have this thing in have this thing in your mind. This is for example a tuple. So here the first thing is 1 comma 2, then we have 3 comma 4, then we have 5 comma 6. So whenever an iterator will be there, so it will read both of these elements. So here we have for a comma b. Why a comma b? Because we want to assign these two values 1 comma 2 from the tuple. So this tuple is t, and we want to print this ab. So it will first access this, then go to this, then go to this. Okay, so that's why the output will be 1 2 3 4 and 5 6. Okay, similarly you can have list of elements where maybe 2D list as well. So maybe that I'll give in your projects. While for this Python, when I'll be done with this looping, maybe you will have a good project to do where you'll be using all these concepts, and maybe some slight advanced versions of these concepts, which will give you some challenging time so that you may think on your own. That's why I just wanted to show you the things that can be done with these loops. So basic concept here is loops are used to do something that is to be done repeatedly, and they do sequential repetition. Okay, and within the loops you can also use if else statements. Within the loops you can use other operators as well. So you can do everything that you studied so far within the loops, and if you want to repeat some things continuously. And then we have while loop. The basic question is, if there was a for loop to do repetitions, so what is the need of this while loop? Okay, don't you think it's a valid question? Zubair, can you answer this question? Why is there a while loop? If there is a for loop, so why is there a while loop? Why this while loop? If anyone can answer. The answer to this is that if there is a for loop, why is there a while loop? Is that so in for loop we sometimes know how many iterations to be, for how many iterations should we do this. For example, in this, if we want to so for example in this range, we knew that outer loop should run for 4 times, and inner loop should also run for, let's say, 4 times. Actually it's 3 times, it'll go till 3. But in here sometimes we don't know till what point, or till how many conditions are met so that we can break out a loop. So for that we use while loop. So till a certain condition is met, we want to get continuously loops. We want to loop those statements continuously. For example, if a person is browsing the web and he is striking some keys, and you sometimes want him or her to ask, do you want to cancel this? Do you want to cancel this? Till he is not cancelling, then you want to continuously pop up that thing. So for that we use while loop. Again, to reiterate, I mean that till a certain condition is satisfied, we want this loop to run continuously. So here it's sometimes called as indefinite loop as well. So why indefinite? Because we don't know how many iterations will we go. So that's why while loop is used, because sometimes you yourself don't know how many iterations will it take to perform some task. So because you will just stop the iterations if some condition is met. If that condition is met, then only you will stop. So that's why you will use while loop there, while you don't know when how many for how many iterations do we need to repeat the things. So the syntax of the while loop is while, then we have this expression. They should give answer as boolean. Okay, then this statements will be executed. That's why I have mentioned in here it falls in the category of indefinite iteration, because you don't know how many iterations are you doing. With while loop, a priori you know that these many iterations I am doing, but with the while loop you don't know how many iterations am I doing. So that's why, meaning the number of times loop executed is specified in advance, so we don't know how many iterations are to be done so that we'll achieve our task. So for example, if I want to print something from 1 to, let's say, 1 to 3, let's suppose. So I have two choices. So first choice is that I'll use for loop and there's range function, I'll do that. But sometimes what I want to do, I want this variable to be like not defined to the user. So for example, if somebody gives me this and if this condition is met, then only I'll use that. In here we have count. If this count is less than 3, for example, for 0, 1, 2, this condition will be satisfied, then we'll print this hello. So how many times will this get printed is 3 times. If you see, 3 times we have hello. Okay, so here it's an indefinite iteration. So if the condition was satisfied something, if here we had some other number, those many number of iterations will happen in here. Okay, so let me just go to the coding window and show you this. So if I have this, so let's say 4, so it will be 4 times. But if I just increment the counter in each iteration by 2, then we'll just have 2. Okay, can you just give me the answer to this? If I will have this 10 and then maybe I am incrementing by 3, so how many hellos will get printed on the screen? So here count starts from 0, then it checks the condition. If count is less than 10, and then it increments this count by 3, then prints hello. So my question is that how many hellos will be printed? Again, I'm getting response from on WhatsApp. Can you just write in the chat window, or maybe so it should get the output should be 3 hellos. If you see it is 4 hellos, can you see where is the mistake? We'll there in the code. Okay, the most important thing that I want you to take is you should be able to dry run the code. That's the thing I want you to get out of these sessions. You should be able to dry run the code within your head. Okay, let's now go. It is it's 3 hello, but it is 4. Let us now dry run and we'll see why it is 4 hellos. Okay, okay, so now I have count. Let me just write it on the tab. Count is 3 and count is being checked less than 10, and we are incrementing by 3. Okay, so are you able to see my screen? I think you are, huh? So now initially the count was 0. Okay, so when the condition was checked, count is less than 3. So that's the first time when it went into the loop, because the condition was true, count was less than 3, that is 0. So count plus 3. So here the 0 was turned into 3 now, but hello was printed. So hello was printed first time. Now again it will go to the condition. It will say, is 3 less than, is this 3 less than 10? Because we are checking for less than 10 condition. Now it actually is less than 10. So what will it do is again increment it by 3, that's 6, but hello will be printed again. Okay, so in the third iteration, what will you do? It will again check, is this 6 less than 10? Yes, it is. So it will increment it by 9, but the hello will get printed. Okay, now for the fourth iteration, what will it do? It will do, is 9 less than 10? Yes, it is less than 10. Now it will increment it with 12, and it will again print hello. And now when it goes the fifth time, it sees this 12 now is actually it's actually greater than this 10, so it will terminate the loop. So you saw how to run this. So first we had while, then we had a condition, then we had some statements in here. Okay, so it first went, it checked the condition and went the loop, then again check the condition and keep on continuously looping over this. Am I clear with this? Why there are 4 hellos? Because 0, 3, 6, 9, for these 4 things it will print this hello. Can I just ask you one more question and maybe we'll be done with this for loop? So let me just remove this. I think you are able to see my screen. So how many hellos will be printed now? So how many hellos will be printed? Can you tell how many? So how many times will this hello be printed now? One time, huh? So are there any other answers? So Mehvi said 1 time. Riyan says 10 times. Okay, can I get some other? Zahid says 10 times. Ha, now Riyan hit the right nail. So it will be infinite times because we are never incrementing the counter. So if I run this, it'll go on, it'll go on, it'll go ever. I have to stop it. So it'll go on and maybe go on forever. Okay, so I have to stop it on purpose. Okay, I have to stop this cell. Now it stopped, I think. Yes. Why will it go on? Let me again show this. So why will it go on? This is called the infinite loop problem. Okay. So because I said like count was equal to 0, count is equal to 0. Okay. Then we said count is less than 3. Yes, count was less than 3. So here we had no increment. So this statement was not there because I commented it out. So I said print hello. So it will print hello. And nothing will happen to count. It will again check the condition. Is count equal less than 3? Yes, it is. So it will again print hello. So because there is nothing, this count remains as it is. So again it will say, is count less than? Yes, it is. It will again print hello. So it will keep on doing this infinite times, indefinite times basically. So this is called the problem of infinite loop. Okay. So do you understand the problem of infinite loop now? If the condition is never met, so this is the problem with the infinite loops. And sometimes you will fall into that. While real coding, you will have the problem of this infinite loops. So what you'll do is, and you will try to code something, and you are trying it should happen for some certain time, but the condition you set is never met. So it's always true. So you will fall into this infinite loop problem. So again, I'll ask a question because other people joined, so they'll also practice a bit. So if I say, let's say, this is equal to 14, and let's say now I am not adding it. Now I am saying count multiplied by, let's say, 2. Let's keep it 18. So how many hellos will get printed? So how many hellos will be there? Mavish, was it you? Okay, Mavish said 37. Sharika said infinite. Any other answers? Rian said it will be 9. 9. Sharika, can you explain why it should be infinite? Nice. Nice. Because value of the counter is not updating. So that's again the same problem that we face. It's equivalent to doing no changes to counter. So it'll keep on doing this. So I don't want to run this cell because it will go into infinite loop again. So what if I do 1 and then let's say 20? So what will be the answer now? Nice. It will be 10 times now. Okay, now you started understanding the loops. Okay, how these things are being worked. So that's why I want you to practice, because more you practice, more you will learn about the nuances of these loops. कि ये काम कैसे करते हैं, how these counters get updated, and things like that. And you will be getting a plenty of questions like this. Even when you are real time coding, you should know कि ये loop कितनी बार चलेगा. So that's the power of these loops. Maybe you know the basic concept that they iterate over some things, but you must know how to evaluate them on your own. That's what I call dry run. You must know how to dry run the code. Okay, you must know this, how to dry run this code. That's why I'm always emphasizing you have tools, you know what it does, but sharp these tools always. Okay, sharp the tools. It's not about, for example, you'll watch other series maybe on YouTube or something. Maybe you'll take some other course, you'll read some other book. The theory will be same. People will maybe teach you theory, but the thing is, you want to get good at these things. How will you get good at things? Is practice. You have to practice a lot. Till you don't practice, I don't think anyone can help you, no matter how good they teach, no matter how good they, For example, otherwise if I have to teach Python to the people who know C, it'll only take me maybe 1 week. That's what I was hoping here, like it'll take only 1 week because probably you people know Python. But from the things that I got, I think you have like shaky base of C and C++ as well. That's why I'm going to a lot of detail in here. So it's good if I spend, let's say, nearly 1 month on this Python itself. Because it's worth it, because you will be having a good language under your belt. And the second thing is, you will translate these skills. There is something called as transfer learning. By transfer learning, I mean, if you know Python, then if anyone gives you other language to learn, so maybe then you will take 7 days. Then you will easily take even less than 7 days to learn that. Because जैसे मैंने बोला, you'll have to just learn the syntax. That's why I'm going into the digging into the deep, and I'll hope that you will work much harder when I will give you projects and assignments. Because in these assignments, they'll be really hard. I think your professors may fail. Your professors may fail. Like, that's my challenge to you. Just give those assignments to your professors. If they were able to solve every question that's in there, I'll salute them. And why am I saying this? Because I want to do you hard things. Because that thing will tell you कि हमने कितना सीखा है. Maybe the things that we did with the bitwise operations, there is a lot of possible to create great questions. Okay, and I'll have negative markings as well. For example, if there are 5 questions, I'll put negative marks, and you'll have to explain if maybe you got the answer right, but your explanation was wrong. You won't be awarded anything for that, because based on these assignments, our goal is to give you recommendations for the jobs. For the recommendations, you really have to work hard on these projects, and maybe for first 2-3 projects they'll be sort of easy because they'll be based on Python and things, but the more you advance in the course, the harder will they get. क्योंकि if a thing is easier, everyone will be doing it. There is a quote कि अगर एक चीज़ बहुत ही आसान है तो हर कोई उसको कर सकता है. But if it's hard, that's why people cannot do it. That's why there's a simple concept of supply and demand. If you know, there's a simple thing of supply and demand. तो हमारे पास अभी इतने जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्यों नहीं है? द प्रॉब्लम इज the demand is very low for low quality engineers. If you are really good at something, there is a high demand for that. तो हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? हम लोग we are supplying very low quality engineers in bulk. That's why for them demand is very low. That's what I want. I want you to work really hard. और copy वॉपी नहीं करके, I don't want you to search the internet for answers. I want your genuine effort. If it's okay, if you get 5 out of 10, but on your own, without looking for the answers, without looking for, because that will show me that हाँ कि इन्होंने कुछ effort डाला है. Because it's for my credibility as well. Because if somebody told me that you have taught this student and I asked him a question and he didn't know, then it'll be sort of a shame for me कि मैंने इसको इतना concept पढ़ाया, then maybe he did not put his hard work and because of this that happened. So what I want you to ensure is कि जितना हम लोग कर रहे हैं, maybe watch these recordings again and again, and then try to build on these concepts. Maybe read some blogs. I told you, read some blogs. Even maybe watch some videos. I won't recommend videos though. Why? Because the problem there is they again scratch the surface, which you probably already know. Blogs and books, they have enough material. If you delve into these, and you will maybe get a lot of things. Then work hard on your problems. Work hard on your projects. That will get you through. Because I know people who know Python here. तो जो अभी people who are watching on YouTube, people who are in this live stream on the Google Meet, I know at least 30% of these, they know Python and they have coded in Python. But after like asking questions, barely like I see 10% of people are answering the questions because I'm getting WhatsApp answers as well. So that's what I want from you. I want that you should be really putting a lot of hard work when solving these projects. Okay. Now let's go back to this, how to use this while loop for a list. If I have a list in which I have 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and there is a function pop in list. What pop does is, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what will it do is, if you call a pop function on this list, it will just remove this element 4. Okay. So if you again call pop, it will remove this element 3. If you call again this pop, it will remove the element 2. Okay. Oh, sorry, that what I'm saying is, I'm saying if we have a list, and for list we have a function pop. Okay, what pop function does is, so if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe let's say 5 as well. So if you call this pop function on a list, so it will just pop the last element first. Then again, if you call this pop, it will again remove this element. If you call pop again, it will remove the element 3. Is there a problem because people are leaving, joining? I see. I think if you have problems because people have joined on the YouTube, so you can also go on the YouTube. Okay, so what will happen in here is, so we have a list 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm doing in here is, if you can see, is I'm saying a dot pop. So a dot pop, the 4 will pop out first. So I'm printing the element as well. The 4 will pop out first. Next time, my whole list is only this much longer. So when I again iterate through it, so I'll call a dot pop. So again, this 3 will be out. So I'll print this 3. Now I have the list of 1, 2 only. So similarly, I'll get this 2 and 1 as well. Okay, if I go back to the coding screen, if I will show you that, oh, we have infinite hellos here. Let me just do one thing. Let me just comment out this and run it again so that. Now you see, if I add 5 in here, so according to the logic that I explained you, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 should be there. And if I want to print the list each time, so you will see that list is truncating by one element. So initially we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we popped 5 from it. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we popped 4. Then we had 1, 2, 3. Then we popped 3. Then we had 1, 2. Then we popped 2. Then we had 1. So we popped this. We at the end we popped everything, so there was nothing left. So we can do the same. We can append. There is a function called append. Okay, list has something called as append. As the pop, it removes the element. Append adds the element. So by that we can do the same. We can do that same thing with the loops. So I'll just write and the loop while let's say length of a. There is a function length which says the length of a is less than, let's say, 10. Okay, so I'll say a dot append. Append means I have to add the things. What should I append? Let's say I'll append some. Let's create a list of numbers. I'll create a list li. Let's say li. So I'll create a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we can just append to show you. I'll just append number 1 because it will be otherwise a long code. So what I'll do is I'll again append at the end. So then I want to print the list again. Okay, so I'll run this code. That is why this code has surprises always. Let's say is equal. So when you have problems, you can just see list and append because you know how to do. So you can just search on the web. Again, so here you have append method with the lists. So you know fruits dot append orange. So I think I am doing the similar thing, but is one there? Print a. Why is there an invalid syntax? Are we having some problems here? Can you check the syntax? I think it should work. A dot append. Let me again do one more thing. It is showing invalid syntax for print even. Oh. So here we had a missing bracket. That's why it can be sometimes frustrating if you miss something. You saw we just had one missing brace here and it was showing invalid syntax. Okay? So that's why you must be careful with this. So now you can see. Let's say I'll call it again. I'll append 2 as well so that make it clear. So initially I had this list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I popped elements 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and I just had empty list. Why is it automatically switching? Okay, so what I'm saying is you saw the error. The error here was I somehow deleted this brace. So it was giving me the error. So I was just running it and I thought maybe there is some invalid syntax. So it was not telling what is the problem. It was showing problem is with a dot append. So then I saw that there is this end of line error. So when I commented out these 2 lines, I saw there is this. Again, you can see that print a has a problem. So even if I comment this line, it will again give me the error. Why? Because the problem is with this basically. So I have to put again and the brace. Sometimes these errors will be there and they are so frustrating. and you won't be able to find, because the interpreter will tell you the error is on line, for example, 123, but that line won't exist even. So sometimes these problems are there. So what I'm saying is, pop, it deletes the elements, and append, it adds the element. So that's why I'm here. I am emptying the list with this while loop. Then I'm adding 1 and 2 at the end. So you can clearly see. So from the start, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I had an empty list. So from there, I had 1, 2. I just appended these two. Okay. I think this is clear. Is it clear? Nice. We have some more minutes. Maybe we can again.
Sir, can you explain again this append?
Append function, what it does? Nice. Append function, what do you understood pop, what pop does?
Sir, your voice is breaking.
So is my voice okay now?
Yes, sir, it is now.
Sharika, you have also had a question.
No, sir.
Your hand is okay. So you understood pop, what is the what this pop function does?
Yes, sir. It removes the last element.
It removes the last element. Similarly, if we have append actually adds an element. So let me again tell it in theory. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but it works on list. Remember this.
Sir, the screen is switched.
I think you should be able to see the screen. Are you able
Yes,
to
yes, sir,
see?
now it is.
So what I'm saying is, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that means I have a list of elements which in there. If I apply pop to this, so this will first remove this element. If I again apply pop, then this will remove this element. So it will keep on removing. What append does is, append does the reverse of pop. It adds the element in the list. So if I had a list 1, 2, 3, so if I want to append 4 and 5 into this, I'll call, let's say this list is A. I'll say A dot append of 4. Then I'll again say A dot append of 5. So what will happen is, so 4 will get appended first, then 5 will get appended. So list will be like this. So it appends at the end. Append means that you are adding an element at the end. So that's why here you have these two elements at the end.
सर अगर आप बहुत सारे अपेंड करने होंगे ऐड तो हमें हर कोई लिखना पड़ेगा
No, no, no,
डिटेल
no.
में
You can use the loop. तो वहाँ पे आप loop use कर. That's why I wanted to show you. You can use the loop. That's why if you want to do something continue, you can use the loop. And you know, even like for your courses, I have to make weeks. तो मुझे क्या करना था, मुझे वो तुम्हारा बनाना था कितने weeks होंगे, और हर week में we had sessions. For example, we had to have 3 sessions in a week, और हर week में मुझे बनाना था day 1, day 2, day 3 or day 4, something like. Do you know how I did it? I did it by the loops. Maybe I'll show you that. That's how I use like programming for my own tasks. जब मुझे करना है, I use real time coding. I don't do things manually. So probably I'll share that thing, and maybe Chrome, and here I'll maybe share this SSD wala thing. So you know that these things are, we can use them for real time things. So are you able to see this day wala thing? So okay, I think my screen is visible. You are seeing my desktop screen right now. So what I did is, if I go there, you can see I have this Kashmir. I'll just increase it a bit. I have this Kashmir my course MLDL. So what I did is, I had to create week 1, week 2, week 3 till 20 weeks, for example, and then within the week I had to do this day 0, day. This was for the first week, and this was for the second week. Day 4, day 5, day 6, and then for the third week I had to do day 7, day 8, day 9. Like how much task will it take manually? For example, for 20 weeks you have to create 20 folders, and then for each folder you have to create 3 subfolders. So for example, just computing, if we had just, let's suppose, 1 second to create a folder, so it will still take, because 20 multiplied by 3, it's 120 seconds, it's nearly 2 minutes if I am so fast in creating and writing the names as well. So I understand the job I had to get, because this was a job which I had to like continuously do, and this was to be done. So मैंने क्या किया, I wrote a simple code that's called bash scripting. So what I did is, maybe that code will be here even, which I wrote. So I think it should be somewhere. Let me find it if it is there. So I'll just show you the code again, which is really cool when you do these sort of things and you know how to code the things. So this is one terminal, this is terminal second, terminal third. Are you seeing? Are you able to see the screen? This is the code I wrote. So this is something, can you see for loops there? Oh, sorry. Can you see for loops there? Can you see weak for something? It may look cryptic to you because maybe you don't know bash scripting, but can you see this? There are some for loops and things like that. So this code is enough to create these folders which I had to do. Otherwise, it at least took me, like, if I was really fast, it would take me 5-6 minutes. So with this script, I hardly wrote it in 1 minute or so, and I was able to create these multiple folders. So that's what I want you to do in the coding. To use these things for your personal tasks, not just use these things where, for example, you are coding for certain things. I'll again switch back to the Chrome. Where is that Jupyter? Oh. Sometimes it's really hard to find things as well. Let's go to the main window again. Okay, so that's what I am showing you. I am showing you that how to real time use like your skills to do the tasks that you want to do. And previously, like at least till now, I have done your three tasks by using computer programming. The first thing is when we had a big list of 150 students. From these 150 students, we had to filter the people who are from Kashmir or who were from tier 3 colleges. So what I did is I wrote a script which easily extracted these. Nearly, I think 30 students were extracted. And for other thing, actually I had to fly back to home on 14 November, and I had to compare the ticket price on different websites. For those, I wrote a program in Python by using Selenium. So by that, I was able to scrap the prices over the web from different websites, and I used to compare that. And I got the cheapest website which was selling basically the flight price on the cheapest rate. So that's how you can use all of these coding skills. If you have a good understanding of these coding things, you can use them, and you can really do wonders for yourself. And you'll also learn a lot of skills. For me, coding is not just to get a job and things. Coding is there to basically get some fun out of it, to solve the real world problems that I'm facing. Okay, so I think this is good enough that we covered some statements like if else. We started with control flow. In that we started with if, then we covered if else, then we had if elif, and we also covered if elif
Nested
and
if.
else ladder. Then we had nested if. This was covered in the control flow where we had these statements, and then we covered for loops, and then we covered while loops, and we saw a lot of examples. I think I am going at a slower pace. Now I'll talk to you. I'm going at a slower pace basically. What I want you, are you okay if Python takes me 1 month? Are you okay with this? Are you okay with the approach that I'm taking right now? Because it is really slow. It will nearly take me 1 month. And I also wanted to ask you, but there is a constraint with my time as well. So if I had 4 sessions a week, is that okay? First tell me this thing. Are you okay with if I cover Python in 1 month? Because then only will I be able to go into detail.
Yes, sir, it's okay.
This, can you just give thumbs up if you are okay with this covering Python in 1 month? I think here I probably will put a WhatsApp poll as well for these two things. WhatsApp poll. Sometimes what I want to do is I want to do 4 sessions, but for these 4 sessions, because of my time constraint, I can have morning lectures as well. Morning lectures on Saturdays or Sundays maybe. Because that's the time when I'm usually free. For other days, I have to work for my office as well. So what I'm suggesting you is that we can have 4 sessions, maybe one on Saturday morning and one in the Saturday evening. Like on Saturday or Sunday, we must have 2 lectures. So are you okay with that? Can we have 4 sessions a week? First thing is that. Rian, I think Zahid, so you're okay with the 4 sessions. So would you be okay if I had these sessions, maybe 2 sessions on Saturday or 2 sessions on Sunday? That will take poll, like how many people are okay if we take on Saturday and Sunday. Because I have a time constraint, I cannot accommodate lectures on different days. Because why I felt that initially I had thought that I'll cover in 1 week I'll cover Python, because I thought that your C and C++ background is pretty much clear, so I just need to go over the syntax. But it's good that I sort of found it out that I need to put more efforts in this, because this is not just a language that you will learn. Okay, in here you will not just learn a language, you will not just learn a language. So what you will do is, you will basically know how to talk to a computer, maybe personal computer is yours. As I showed you some real world examples that I solved. Can you just wait and I'll come back, maybe some people are shouting here. Wait. Really strange people, they were having birthday or something. So what I'm saying is that it's good that I found that many of you lack the background of so many of you felt that you lack a little bit background of coding, so that's why I want to teach you how to talk to a computer and how to make it do the things that you want to do it. So did you like the approach, like this approach, like, or do you just want to learn a language? So do you like this, like I want to teach you this, how to talk to a computer? But for that, as
Yes,
I
sir.
told you, that your hard work is very important. Because I cannot guarantee anything from my side. I can guarantee one thing from my side. I'll put maximum efforts. Even I had a chat with some people, and the thing, these notes are made by people from IIT/ISCs, and you know that you are going to learn deep learning. For that, notes are being prepared. That guy has a 4-year experience in deep learning, so he's preparing. There is a lot of efforts that goes into preparing these notes. Then I am the one who is just presenting it. You may think that maybe he knows a lot of stuff. I have to, like, for example, go through the notes once, like when I have to come, because sometimes the people who prepare the notes, maybe they knew something more than me. So these notes are being prepared by people from IIT ISCs, and they really put a lot of effort in making these notes. So you must get best, and these assignments will be created by these people. That's why I was so sure that your professors won't be able to solve all the assignment, like on their own. Maybe if they search the web, because these assignments will be really high quality assignments, and even projects per se. Because if you work hard in these assignments and projects, then only will you able to make a good profile for you. As I said, because some people were not in the meeting prior when we start this meeting, so we said if you want to get placed in a good company, so for that either you should have good college, because good college mostly guarantees that you are good at things. You are maybe good at computer science or something. Like good college means IITs or IISc or maybe top NITs, not even lower NITs like NIT Srinagar or things like that. So by this good college having this tag, companies do easily take these students, because from the perspective of company उनका भी ये सोच होता है कि we should have a metric जिसपे हम इन लोगों को देख पाएं. So they sort of filter out these candidates. So उनके पास ऐसे best option यही है to take people from these colleges. So this is our best bet कि ये at least चलो उनको तो कुछ आएगा. But sometimes from these I won't say that ये college में होने से guarantee होता है कि this guy will be better. But I'll say more than 80% of chances are that they'll get good guys from here. But there are chances that from outside this college they'll get good people. So how that is? That is by having a strong profile. By having a strong profile. That I said. For that you have to do a lot of projects. And for these projects you must have an experience as well. Experience, for example, for some internship or some things like that. I'll ensure that I'll give you a lot of projects, and for the people who are doing really good and I think that they are worth internship, and I'll try my best to give them internships. That's what is my motto here, because my goal for you is to get you a good job where you will not just do the work for money's sake, but you will do the work because you enjoy computer science. Okay, that's my goal, because you lost this option sort of. You don't have this option at all, because otherwise you had to prepare for these things, and maybe you'll get this. Is like sometimes I call this an unfavorable advantage or something. So this is basically unfair advantage people get. So if a guy is from NIT IISc and if he has not done good work in IIT even, then maybe he's just passing with D grade, still he'll get a good job. It's like if somebody is उसने नीट क्रैक कर लिया and now he's in a medical college, वहाँ पे भले उसको D grades मिले, but still he'll get MBBS degree and maybe he'll have a private clinic. So similar things happens with this good college. So if you are from good college, people think that he might know something and they'll hire him. But with you guys, the case is that you must build these strong profiles, and then only can I give recommendations. And for the internships, I'll make sure कि जो लोग बहुत hard work करें, and I thought कि हाँ इन लोगों ने इतने skills सीख लिए कि now they'll be able to do good in internships. I'll ensure that कि ये मैं ensure करूँगा. And for the people who are really good at internships, because internships will give you experience, so you can write on your CVs that I have this much of experience. So अभी Sunday के लिए हमारा क्या plan है? So for Sunday, because I'm sort of free, we'll give registered people. जो भी हमारे फाइनल लिस्ट में अभी स्टूडेंट आ गए, the people who have paid and gotten the final list, हम लोग उनको, I'll personally talk to them. I'll personally have a telephonic call. I'll have a telephonic call, I'll just have a short meet, but I'll talk to them for 30 minutes for their career, because some people are not sure कि कौन सा career path करना है. At least you guys are sure कि computer science choose करना है. So I will I'll allot you, maybe Mohsin Urfi and me will just have a chat with us, because we have nearly under 15 students who are in our final list. So for those 15 students, I think for the for rest of my day on Sunday, I'll start calling from. Is 10 a good time? Because people, do they wake up early? So I'll sort of call you and get to know your background, because I want to know each of you personally, so that I can give sort of tailored advices. So it's not like that कि मैं यहाँ पढ़ा रहा हूँ, because it is sort of a credibility for me as well. If I'm teaching you something, the thing is I want to know you, and I want to know your goals and pursuits that you are going to, and I want you to also increase the understanding, because you have very less people around you जिनको सही में tech आता है. And I had this chat with some people जिनको मैंने बताया था, it's really important to be around good people. It's very really important कि अगर वो tech में बहुत अच्छे हैं तो तुम्हें उनके around रहना चाहिए, because that will sort of bring that thing out of you कि हमें ये चीज़ करनी है. For example, if you are living around the people who are very health conscious, तो तुम लोग बहुत health को serious लोगे, because everybody is taking health seriously. So that's like peer pressure. You might know it. Peer pressure. So that's why I'll call you guys personally tomorrow on Sunday, and I'll give each of you the time slot. Please make available yourself for those 30 minutes. I want to discuss about your career. I think Mohsin Urfi will also be there. Then we have other people as well who will, if we see that there is a lack of communication as well, because some people, they don't know how to speak, we will arrange sessions for them where people will take their mock interviews. So that, because we want you to get well prepared. That's why out of these 100 students, we just chose 30. And I was expecting 30 students, but it's okay. If I'm getting 15, even if I got one student, that's okay for me. Because for me, the whole motive is that from my side, I should give the best, irrespective of what other people are doing from their side. मुझे इससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि if people are there, if people are not there, I'll still do the same hard work, because I have really good people around me जो अभी ये content बनाने के help कर रहे हैं. So I told you, like, people, yesterday I had a meeting. I think even in the office I am having meeting of this sort कि मैं ये चला रहा हूँ कि उसमें ऐसा हम लोग कर रहे हैं. Because when I was at this place, I was also from a, I'll say, tier 2, tier 3 college, and I know the pain of being there. Then there were good people who helped me in every aspect, and I want to transfer that. And out of this, from your, for example, if you are 10-15 people, and out of these people, if we even get 2-3 people who are able to do some good work and who are able to serve the community, I think I will be successful, and most of the people will be all successful in our job. So I hope that you will make yourself available for 30 minutes. The people who have registered and are in the finalist, will just allot them time tomorrow. Okay? If you have any questions, I'll wait for 1 minute. Then we'll close the session. I think nobody has question. Thank you, everyone. It was nice discussing the things with you. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.